Deva means heavenly, divine, anything of excellence, and is also one of the terms for a deity in Hinduism. Deva is a masculine term, the feminine equivalent is Devi. In the earliest Vedic literature, all supernatural beings are called Devas and Asuras. The concepts and legends evolve in ancient Indian literature, and by the late Vedic period, benevolent supernatural beings are referred to as Deva-Asuras. In post-Vedic texts, such as the Puranas and the Itihasas of Hinduism, the Devas represent the good, and the Asuras the bad. In some medieval Indian literature, Devas are also referred to as Suras and contrasted with their equally powerful but malevolent half-brothers, referred to as the Asuras. Devas, along with Asuras, Yakshas, nature spirits, and Rakshasas, ghoulish ogres/demons, are part of Indian mythology, and Devas feature in many cosmological theories in Hinduism. In Vedic literature, Deva is not a monotheistic god, rather a supernatural, divine concept manifesting in various ideas and knowledge. In a form that combines excellence in some aspects, wrestling with weakness and questions in other aspects, heroic in their outlook and actions, yet tied up with emotions and desires. Max Muller states that the Vedic hymns are remarkable in calling every one of the different Devas as the only one, the supreme, the greatest. Muller concluded that the Vedic ideas about Devas are best understood neither as polytheism nor as monotheism, but as henotheism where gods are equivalent, different perspectives. Different aspects of reverence and spirituality, unified by principles of Ta and Dharma. Ananda Kumaraswamy states that Devas and Asuras in the Vedic lore are similar to the Olympian gods and titans of Greek mythology. Both are powerful but have different orientations and inclinations, with the Devas representing the powers of light and the Asuras representing the powers of darkness in Hindu mythology. According to Kumaraswamy's interpretation of Devas and Asuras, both these natures exist in each human being, both the tyrant and the angel. The best and the worst within each person struggles before choices and one's own nature. And the Hindu formulation of Devas and Asuras is an eternal dance between these within each person. All powerful beings, good or evil, are called Devas and Asuras in the oldest layer of Vedic texts. A much-studied hymn of the Rigveda states Devavasura, Asuras who have become Devas, and contrasts it with Asura Deva, Asuras who are not Devas. They are born from the same father, Prajapati, the primordial progenitor. His sons are envisioned as the Asuras and Devas. They all share the same residence, Loka. Eat together the same food and drinks, Soma, and have innate potential, knowledge and special powers in Hindu mythology. The only thing that distinguishes Asuras who become Devas from Asuras who remain Asuras is intent, action and choices they make in their mythic lives. The god, Deva, and anti-god, Asura, states Edelman, are also symbolically the contradictory forces that motivate each individual and people, and thus Deva-Asura dichotomy is a spiritual concept rather than mere genealogical category or species of being. In the Bhagavata Purana, saints and gods are born in families of Asuras, such as Mahabali and Prahlada, conveying the symbolism that motivations, beliefs, and actions rather than one's birth and family circumstances define whether one is Deva-like or Asura-like. In Hinduism, Devas are celestial beings associated with various aspects of the cosmos. Devas such as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva form the Hindu trinity known as the Trimurti and preside over the functioning of the cosmos and the evolution of creation. Lesser Devas may control the forces of nature, such as Vayu, the lord of the wind, Varuna the lord of water, and Agni, the lord of fire. Hinduism also has many other lesser celestial beings, such as the married Gandharvas, male celestial musicians, and Apsaras, female celestial dancers. Hindu mythology incorporates numerous Devas, gods, and Devis, goddesses. These are symbolic stories that synthesize God and gender, with ideas and values. The Vishnu Purana, for example, recites one such myth describes gods and goddesses with names that are loaded with symbolism. A deva in Buddhism is a type of celestial beings who share the godlike characteristics of being more powerful, longer-lived, and, in general, much happier than humans, although the same level of veneration is not paid to them as to Buddhas. Other words used in Buddhist texts to refer to similar supernatural beings are Devata, deities, and Devapada, son of God. While the former is a synonym for deva, celestials, the latter refers specifically to one of these beings who is young and has newly arisen in its heavenly world. Deva refers to a class of beings or a path of the 6 paths of the incarnation cycle. It includes some very different types of beings which can be ranked hierarchically according to the merits they have accumulated over lifetimes. The lowest classes of these beings are closer in their nature to human beings than to the higher classes of deva. Devas can be degraded to humans or the beings in the 3 evil paths once they have consumed their merits. The devas fall into 3 classes depending upon which of the 3 deities, or realms, of the universe they are born in. The devas of the Arupadhatu have no physical form or location, and they dwell in meditation on formless subjects. They achieve this by attaining advanced meditational levels in another life. They do not interact with the rest of the universe. The devas of the Rupadhatu have physical forms, but are genderless and passionless. They live in a large number of heavens or deva worlds that rise, layer on layer, above the earth. Each of these groups of deva worlds contains different grades of devas, but all of those within a single group are able to interact and communicate with each other. On the other hand, the lower groups have no direct knowledge of even the existence of the higher types of deva at all. For this reason, some of the Brahmas have become proud, imagining themselves as the creators of their own worlds and of all the worlds below them, because they came into existence before those worlds began to exist. The devas of the Kamadhatu have physical forms similar to, but larger than, those of humans. They lead the same sort of lives that humans do, though they are longer lived and generally more content, indeed sometimes they are immersed in pleasures. This is the realm that Mara has greatest influence over. The higher devas of the Kamadhatu live in 4 heavens that float in the air, leaving them free from contact with the strife of the lower world. Sometimes included among the devas, and sometimes placed in a different category, are the Asuras, the opponents of the preceding 2 groups of devas, whose nature is to be continually engaged in war. Humans are said to have originally had many of the powers of the devas, not requiring food, the ability to fly through the air, and shining by their own light. Over time they began to eat solid foods, their bodies became coarser and their powers disappeared. Devas are invisible to the human eye. The presence of a deva can be detected by those humans who have opened the divine eye, an extrasensory power by which one can see beings from other planes. Their voices can also be heard by those who have cultivated divyasrotra, a power similar to that of the ear. Most devas are also capable of constructing illusory forms by which they can manifest themselves to the beings of lower worlds. Higher and lower devas sometimes do this to each other. Devas do not require the same kind of sustenance as humans do, although the lower kinds do eat and drink. The higher orders of deva shine with their own intrinsic luminosity. Devas are also capable of moving great distances speedily, and of flying through the air, although the lower devas sometimes accomplish this through magical aids such as a flying chariot. Buddhist devas differ from the Western conception of gods and angels in several ways. Buddhist devas are not immortal. Their lives as devas began some time in the past when they died and were reborn. They live for very long but finite periods of time, ranging from thousands to, at least, billions of years. When they pass away, they are reborn as some other sort of being, perhaps a different type of deva, perhaps a human or something beyond comprehension. The Lamrim mentions that devas are often reborn into lower realms of suffering like the narakas and pretas because their existence consumes a lot of good karma. But they can also be reborn as humans and animals. Buddhist devas do not create or shape the world. They come into existence based upon their past karmas, and they are as much subject to the natural laws of cause and effect as any other being in the universe. they also have no role in the periodic dissolutions of worlds. Buddhist Devas are not incarnations of a few archetypal deities or manifestations of a god. Nor are they merely symbols. They are considered to be, like humans, distinct individuals with their own personalities and paths in life. Buddhist Devas are not omniscient nor omnipotent. Their powers tend to be limited to their own worlds, and they rarely intervene in human affairs. When they do, it is generally by way of quiet advice rather than by physical intervention. Buddhist Devas are not morally perfect. The Devas of the worlds of the Rupadhatu do lack human passions and desires, but some of them are capable of ignorance, arrogance and pride. The Devas of the lower worlds of the Kamadhatu experience the same kind of passions that humans do, including, in the lowest of these worlds, lust, jealousy, and anger. It is, indeed, their imperfections in the mental and moral realms that cause them to be reborn in these worlds. Buddhist Devas are not to be considered as equal to a Buddhist refuge. While some individuals among the Devas may be beings of great moral authority and prestige and thus deserving of a high degree of respect and veneration, in some cases, even being enlightened practitioners of the Dharma, no Deva can ultimately be taken as the way of escape from sasra or control one's rebirth. The highest honors are reserved to the three jewels of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha.